Oh, hello there. Yes, well, Norman Tebbit has finally shuffled off this mortal coil. I didn't think you could kill that which did not live. Yes. Anyway, sort of a towering figure from my youth. God knows how old he was. Anyway, he'll be sorely missed by various people on the right because, of course, he would have fitted in very well, wouldn't he, with our reformers and our respiters and our, whatever other parties begin with R, because, of course, he would demonise the poor, and he certainly demonised brown people. So, it's very much a trailblazer for exactly where we are now. And speaking of such individuals, of course, we had Richard Tice, who managed to post this up on Twitter, which caught my eye yesterday. So, junior doctors striking again. He misses out various words. I'm not really quite sure why. I think he's just lazy. Anyway, want ever more pay after 22 pay rise last year. See what I mean? Where are he manages the productivity improvements in NHS working practices? Where is recognition for most generous pension arrangements? Yes. And of course I would have to agree with Richard there in its entirety, because after all, the country wouldn't function if it wasn't for the doctors, would it? We would all die. We'd all die if the doctors weren't here. So we have to give them more money, because if we don't give them more money, well, they'll go abroad, won't they? They'll just leave, because they can. Yeah, they'll just leave. And then we'll all get cancer and scabies and gonorrhea and athlete's foot. And although, we can get that treated under the chemist, that nice guy in Lloyd's or whatever it might be, it would be the sort of aggressive kind that sneaks up on us and makes our toes drop off. Yeah, so we have to pay the doctors more. Now, if that sounds like so much tosh, well, yes, it is, isn't it? Because, that's not the way the world works, is it? Doctors aren't vital to anything other than, they're kind of handy to have around. They do play a reasonably key role in society. But they got me thinking about what our current debate is around, those very other special people who are definitely going to leave if we dare not to give them more money, the wealthy. Had this in the Telegraph, the Telegraph view, inevitably wealth taxes, the failed idea that refuses to die. Odd that, isn't it? Because it didn't fail in the 1950s, 1960s or 1970s. It failed afterwards when Margaret Thatcher came to power. With that nice guy Norman Tebbit. Yeah, the welfare revolt has come at a cost, but soaking the so-called rich is not the answer. Yes, so-called, indeed. So yesterday as well we had this kind of thing on, GB News. Yeah, Keir Starmer's depressing wealth tax plans issued stark warning for exodus of UK's top earners. There is no magic money tree. Yes, we're back to magic money tree not existing analogies, which actually don't work at all, which almost anyone who actually knows about economics will tell you. Still, that doesn't matter. But let's have a look at this. Andrew Griffiths, I think. Yeah, I don't care either. Let's see what this guy has to say and see if he can spot the flaw in the idea of a wealth tax here. Delivering his verdict on the proposed tax, Griffiths told GB News, "It's just depressing, the lack of understanding from this government. They genuinely believe there's a magic money tree. It's insane." Always have a magic money tree for missiles, though, don't we? It's a very special one, actually. It just grows exocets on the outside. Anyway, we have a hugely progressive tax system in this country. The top 1% pay for 30% of all income tax. Income tax, you notice. Income tax. Bear that in mind. Imagine a system that's so precarious that if the top 1% can leave, as we're seeing day by day, more evidence mounting that they are, that everyone else is going to have to pay more to make good that 30% hole in income tax. Income tax, you notice, not wealth. Because when we actually look at the way that wealth, as well as other things, are represented in this country, it gives us a slightly different picture, doesn't it? Because when we actually picture these things, we can see that the people at the very top have an enormously large amount of wealth. And the reason, Andrew, Mr. Griffiths and GB News and that nice Mr. Tice and probably the ghost of various Thatcherites. The reason why we have a system whereby the top people pay so much in tax, in terms of income tax, is because they earn so bleeding much, which is a lot more than they've done for about the last 100 or so years. And the system has been rigged because the government liked the idea of taking people out of income tax at the bottom, which was also a bung to everyone else. It's a kind of stealth version of a tax bung to the rich, and they did that. And therefore, if we want, various people to pay more in taxes, what we could do is get that taxes from elsewhere. But they're not going to want you to know that, are they? No. I mean, this is the best real visualization of these kind of things I can come up with. I mean, I know it's about America, but if you look at this, it gives you a very good idea of where exactly the wealth is. Now, we used to tax people enormously in this country, and things worked very well. And also, we had a great deal more social mobility. But on a basic level, if we are led to believe that rich people are the only reasons why anything works, how come things worked before there were rich people? I mean, people caught on in society before there were doctors, yeah? We've only had realistically any form of modern medicine for about the last 2,000 years. So what on earth did people do that before then? Well, they collectively did things, didn't they, yeah? Entrepreneurs didn't give us, agriculture, did they? Rich people didn't give us writing. It wasn't some, wildly radical billionaire who decided to take a punt on putting down little markings to count things. That's not the reason why we got writing or agriculture or loads of other advances. It's because people worked at them. Sir Isaac Newton, who, I guess various people would claim to be some Great Britain, some form of entrepreneur, but he very much believed that he was standing on the shoulders of giants, and the giants are all of us collectively as society. But of course, Richard doesn't like to think about that kind of thing, because that would make him less special. And we all know he's special, like Norman Tebbett's special, and, Andrew Griffiths is special, and certainly all the people at GB News are very, very special, yeah? Yeah? The rest of us, meanwhile, need to be paid less. And if we do get that minor pay increase that perhaps we do vaguely deserve, then by God we've got to give up something for it, yeah? Lest we go abroad. Not going to happen, is it? Anyway, okay, let these people go abroad. Let's see exactly how bad everything is. Because again, going back to Norman Tebbit, I'm old enough to remember every year of my adult life people threatening to go abroad. And you know what? Generally speaking, they didn't. It's just hooey. Still, do confuse income tax with wealth. Do confuse income tax with wealth. It's very important you think that way, all right? It's very important. Very, very. Yes. The Duke of Westminster, right? It's not an entrepreneur. One of the richest people in the country. Why? Because his dad was the Duke of Westminster. Why? Because his dad was the Duke of Westminster. Why? Because his dad was the Duke of Westminster. Still, imagine if the Duke of Westminster suddenly died. Would we all be so much worse off? And the answer is no, because there'll be another Duke of Westminster, another person that does nothing and ultimately doesn't realistically contribute anything. But, we'd all just die without him, apparently. Well, I probably would anyway, because I have a soft spot for the Duke of Westminster. Anyway, do enjoy if you can do, and remember, don't buy into this tosh. Rich people pay for Richard Tice to come out with this stuff. Rich people donate to the Conservative Party to tell you these things. And if you want an economist who's going to tell you something very, very similar, there is a great new series by Richard Murphy, which he started yesterday, around the whole issue of wealth. So if you want to find out things from a professor in accountancy, he's your man. Or is he a dangerous radical who's only doing it out of envy? I don't know. Pays your money, takes your choice.